Hello, and welcome to Basics for Gamers presents The Basics of Combat Part 4, Full Actions and Reactions. In the previous part of this series, we discussed how players are granted one standard action, one move action, and one swift action on their turn to declare what they would like their character to do during that round. In this video, we're going to look at two more important parts of the combat round. The first being how a character can take a single full action instead of individual standard move and swift actions, and after that we will look at what a character can do when it is not their turn, take reactions. Full actions consume your standard move and swift actions, and therefore if you take a full action, that's likely going to be the only thing you do on your turn. They are especially time consuming or require great concentration. And some examples of full actions include Coup de Grace. Delivering a Coup de Grace is a carefully executed death blow that may only be delivered against a helpless opponent that is adjacent to you. These attacks require a full action, they always hit and automatically deal critical damage. If the target survives that damage, they must make a Fortitude savings throw or instantly die, regardless of if they have any resolve points. The DC for this savings throw is 10 plus the attacker's level or their CR. However, also note that any creature that is immune to critical attacks is also immune to that application of a Coup de Grace as well. They will still automatically be hit, but the attack deals normal damage and does not require the victim to make a save versus death. Another kind of full action is the full attack. A character can spend a full action to attack twice during their turn. Both attacks suffer a -4 penalty and can be executed as either one attack with a different weapon in each hand or as two attacks with the same weapon unless that weapon is limited by the unwieldy special property or has a firing rate that limits it to only one attack per turn. As a full action, a character can also run. A character that is running moves 4 times their speed, provided that the movement is in a straight line. You gain the flat-footed condition until the start of your next turn, and that includes a -2 penalty to your armor class. You must be able to see where you're running, and you cannot cross difficult terrain. A character can run for a number of rounds equal to their Constitution score. So with a Constitution score of 10, a character can run for a full minute. You can also withdraw as a full action. When a character withdraws, they move double their speed and do not provoke attacks of opportunity from enemies they can see while exiting their original space, and only from exiting their original space. They will provoke attacks of opportunity as usual, moving beyond that first space. There is one more type of full action which will require a little more explanation than these others, and that is charging. As a full action, a character can move up to double their speed and make a melee attack at the end of their move. As with a normal move action to move your speed, you can draw a weapon as part of a charge if your base attack bonus is at least +1. There are a few restrictions on how you can move during your charge. First, you have to be able to see your target at the start of the charge. Second, you must move at least 10 feet, so you can't charge a target that is only 1 or 2 squares away. Third, all movement must be directly towards the target. In tactical terms, this means every square of movement must be 1 square further away from your point of origin and 1 square closer to your target. So you may move diagonally, but cannot move laterally or around anything. The fourth restriction is you can't move through any square occupied by an object, difficult terrain, or a creature, including your allies, unless that creature is helpless. And the last requirement says that the square that you charge into must be whichever square is closest to your starting space that is also within range to make a melee attack against your target. What this means is you don't get to choose to charge into any square that you could attack from. And if you have reach with your weapon, you can't end your charge adjacent to your target. You can only charge into the square that's closest to your starting space that allows a melee attack against your enemy. Also note that if that square is already occupied by a creature or a terrain or an object, then you can't charge at all. Let's look at these restrictions a little closer with a few examples. In each of these, we'll be using Oboe, the soldier. She has a speed score of 35 feet and is wielding her Ember Flame Dashko. In our first example, can Oboe charge the Space Goblin from here? No, she can't, because she has no line of sight from her starting space. Even though Oboe may be aware the goblin is there because her ally Navasi can see it and may even be calling out to Oboe to attack it, Oboe can't charge at this enemy because she cannot see it from her starting space. In our second example, can Oboe charge from 10 feet away? No, because she needs to move 10 feet, and she would only be moving 5 feet to engage the goblin here. In our next example, can Oboe charge into this square to attack the goblin? No, because the closest squares to her starting space that are within range of the target are occupied by Navasi and the computer terminal. And she can only charge into the closest space, not the closest available space. The squares Navasi and the computer are in are 20 feet from Oboe's starting space, but the highlighted square is 25 feet away. Therefore, it is not a valid place for her to charge into. Likewise, you can't charge further than the minimum required, so she couldn't charge into either of these squares either. And if they were positioned like this, and Oboe was wielding a weapon with 10 feet of reach, she could charge to the green square and attack, but not to the red square. So far we've discussed the things a character can do on their turn: standard, move, swift, and full actions. But there is another special type of action that characters can take in addition to those when it's not their turn, and those are reactions. Every round, at the start of each character's turn, they receive one reaction that they can spend before the start of their next turn, and therefore do not receive any reactions until the first time that they act in combat. So you can't perform a reaction during a surprise round if you're surprised, or during the first round of regular combat before your place in initiative. An attack of opportunity is the only reaction that is available to all characters, and if you haven't seen our video detailing how those work, we highly encourage you to do so. All other uses for a reaction are granted from class abilities, feats, items, spells, or by other mechanisms. Besides the actions already mentioned, there are things your character can do that do not take any actions to perform. Officially, these are called other actions, but are commonly referred to as free actions as well. A few examples of other or free actions include combat banter. Making a witty quip or quick exclamation like attack or run away shouldn't require an action or be limited to just being done on your specific place in initiative, but any speech that is lengthy or part of a skill check like a bluff or intimidate check probably would require an action be spent. The exact amount of speech a character can get away with for a free action is up to each individual GM to decide. Also, dropping an item is a free action. In this video, we discussed combat actions. At the start of each turn, players receive one standard, move, and swift action that can be spent to declare activities during their turn. Standard actions may be spent to perform move or swift actions, and move actions may be spent to take an additional swift action. All three actions may also be bundled together and spent to take a single full action. Full actions cost your standard, move, and swift actions, and if taken will typically be the only thing done that turn. Examples include delivering a coup de grace against a helpless opponent, These automatically hit, deal critical damage, and require the victim to make a fortitude save or die. The DC for that fortitude save is 10 plus the attacker's level or CR. Characters can make a full attack, where they attack twice but suffer a -4 penalty to each attack roll. A character can run as a full action. Doing so lets them move 4 times their speed, but only in a straight line and not over difficult terrain. They also suffer the flat-footed condition until the start of their next turn. Withdrawing is a full action. When a character withdraws, they move double their speed and do not provoke attacks of opportunity for exiting their original space. And charging is a full action. When charging, a character moves double their speed and ends it with a melee attack. They must move at least 10 feet. Every square of movement must be closer to their target. They can't charge through objects, difficult terrain, or creatures, including their own allies, and can only charge into the square closest to their starting space that is also within range of attacking that enemy with a melee weapon. At the start of every turn, characters also receive a reaction that can be spent to let them act during another character's turn. The most common use for a reaction is an attack of opportunity, which we have another video dedicated to. The link for that is in the description, and other uses for reactions are provided by feats, class features, spells, equipment, and other means. There are also a few things that players can do that are free and do not require the use of any actions. A few examples are brief combat banner and dropping items. A variety of skills and their applications can be used with the different actions, so make sure you check each skill's description to learn how that skill is applied with regard to which action is used. With that, we'll bring this video to a close. If you found this video helpful, please give us a like, and don't forget to click that subscribe button and bell so you don't miss out on our future videos. Leave us a comment letting us know what topics you would like to see us cover in the future, and we can always be reached through our Twitter and Facebook pages too. If you would like to use some of the maps that we feature in our videos with your own games, you can find them at Maps of Mastery and 0 Hour. Links to those sites may be found in the description. Thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you soon with more basics for your favorite tabletop games.